Last year, Dodge said they would show 3 vehicles in 2022. We are now 5 months in, and now Tim Kuniskis gives us a loose timeline when to expect some of them. So in this video, let's find out when the Hornet, the eMuscle car I'm dubbing the Cuda, and the third significant vehicle will be coming.
Rage on that beat, going crazy.
Let's get started with the Hornet. If you don't know what the Hornet is by now, it will be a small, compact crossover SUV based on the Alfa Romeo Tonale. Tim Kuniskis finally confirms the Hornet is coming and will finally be revealed in August, but still doesn't give an exact date. He says we should finally expect the Hornet between Roadkill Nights and the Woodward Dream Cruise, which will be around the 2nd to 3rd week of August. But don't get too happy because allegedly industry turmoil is pushing the date around and we still may not see the Hornet in August. It's interesting that turmoil is causing the Hornet to be delayed until August, even though we saw a spot shot of one back in February. Judging by the photo, it looks like a performance version with heat extractors in the hood and aggressive side vents, so we know at least one Hornet exists. If you didn't know, the Hornet will be built by Alfa Romeo and imported to the US. So unless there are some issues getting Hornets on the boats to the US, what does it have to do with introducing a model that won't go on sale until next year anyway? None of the 3 cars Dodge showed this year is expected to go in production until at least 2023 anyway. Alfa Romeo already showed the Tonale, Dodge already knows the photo leaked, so why not just show the car? Just saying. As for the eMuscle car, Tim Kuniskis gives another odd statement as to why it is taking so long for the Cuda EV to come. He says there is one important piece that is outside his control, outside of the industry, and that he's waiting for the two to come together before the vehicle can be shown. And the only timeline we have is from now until Speed Week, which is the week between the timeline I said earlier in August for the Hornet. What could Dodge be waiting on to delay showing this car that won't be released for another 2 years anyway? Dodge already has trademarks for several names to call this EV. I went over all the interesting ones in this video, but they have names such as the Cuda, the Demon, and the Adventure they could use. Dodge already has patents for the new suspension found in March. I covered in this video about the 4-wheel steering, launch mode, and the new advanced active suspension. I covered Maserati confirming a tri-motor EV with over 1200 horsepower. We even know the never-lift garage door that this car sits behind. So what is left that prevents this car from being revealed? We know everything about the eMuscle car except for the actual name, what exactly the car will look like, and when it will be shown. So let's talk about the turmoil. I've said this in a few videos, but one of the issues is the drama behind the scenes with Unifor, the Canadian union that builds the Challenger, the Charger, and the 300 at Brampton. Now Tim Kuniskis says he is waiting for things to happen and wants both of them together. Last year he said he was waiting for patents, and now we get this excuse of things outside of Dodge's control. But when he says he's waiting for both of them, he could mean he's waiting to find a new home for the EVs. Currently Dodge only has an agreement with Unifor to build the Challenger, the Charger, and the 300 until 2024. Part of the reason why Stellantis was trying to leave Canada for the US is because Biden was going to give tax incentives for the EVs made by unions in the US. So Stellantis probably decided to make use of the Belvedere plant to make the Dodge cars, especially after Illinois signed the REV Act to give even more tax credits and exemptions. As you can see from this article, it will be very lucrative for Dodge to make their EVs in Illinois at the Belvedere plant. But Stellantis was leaving Unifor and Brampton out to dry because according to the union, they have asked questions and cannot get any straight answers from Stellantis. So this issue could be the industry turmoil that Dodge is facing and their way to see what kind of bill that Biden can get signed to further help their bottom line. And this could be why they're waiting to figure out whether or not they're going to use the Belvedere plant to build the cars or try to strike a deal with Unifor. But I did find this article about Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares visiting the Windsor plant back in February, and he says that government authorities are dictating the pathway to electrification and that he's concerned the authorities are making decisions for them. So it seems like government policies are messing with Dodge's plans, and they are in a holding pattern to figure out who will give them the best deal. Because the Canadian government says they'll meet or beat any rebates the US imposes. So this could be why we haven't heard anything about the future of the Challenger, the Charger, and the 300. But recently, as I was recording this video, Stellantis will now in fact update the Windsor and Brampton plant to build EV vehicles. Now with this last hurdle out the way, they can sign a new agreement with Unifor, and we should see the new eMuscle car or cars because they now have a new home. We just need to give Dodge a few weeks to sign the agreement, film their segment, and show it online because there isn't a big auto show going on for the next few months. As far as the third mystery car, nothing was said about it, but we do know it will be after August before we see it. So at least now we know it will be sometime in the fall. Maybe the Detroit Auto Show on September 14th, or another possibility could be the LA Auto Show on November 16th, could be when we see this vehicle. No clue as to what space this vehicle will fit, just like when Kuniskis just recently said that the Hornet will fill the subcompact space. But he did say that they'll have multiple cars that are launching, some will be battery electric vehicles, some will be plug-in hybrid vehicles. So I have three guesses of what this vehicle could be. Number one on my list is a return of a Dodge Viper that could use the Maserati MC20 as a basis for a mid-engine version. Number two on my list is the Dodge Journey making a return back to the US market. And number three on my list is the Dodge Durango. I've heard from sources that it's going to stop production at the Jefferson plant this fall, and it could wind up at the Warren plant on a body-on-frame platform with the Grand Wagoneer. I picked these three vehicles because they fill a void that Dodge currently has. A new Viper will be significant because Dodge needs a car that will compete against the C8 Corvette and the Tesla Roadster. If you check out my suspension patent video, Stellantis has the ability to make a 700 horsepower quad-motor EV similar to the Rimac Navara. So a very powerful Viper would be a cool thing. A mid-size Journey will be significant because that seems to be the heart of a market with mid-size crossovers. And finally, moving the Dodge Durango to body on frame will give them another cheaper option in the full-size SUV market and probably compete with the Tahoe, especially for law enforcement sales. Now let's look at the Never Lift garage door calendar. Around the August timeframe, we'll see the Ray Watson Hornet Killer door open for the Hornet, the Froxside door open for the Cuda EV muscle car, and we'll see the Roadkill door open for Roadkill Nights. What's coming for Roadkill Nights could be a few different vehicles I've heard are in the pipeline. I did a video about another drag variant based on a Superstock and a Demon recently, and that could be what comes at this drag racing event. Dodge did say plenty of buzz models are coming, and we know of the three final Hellcat variants. The jailbreak was announced last year. Maybe this new Superstock Demon version will be announced at Roadkill Nights, and I cross my fingers that the King door coming next year will be the final Hellcat variant. I am personally only interested in three Dodge vehicles right now: a next-gen Viper, a Foundation Hellcat, or the Cuda EV. At least one of these cars will sit beside my TRX and my incoming Z06 in the next couple of years. But I know all three of these cars will be stupid expensive, especially the Cuda EV, which you can check out in this video about all the current specs that it will have. Or you can check out this other video about the 6 reasons the Viper returned that my sister did.